Welcome to this week's YouTube, where we had temperatures of 39 below with wind chills well below 40 below, and we are always watching for how the wolves deal with the cold weather, as well as how the pack dynamics is impacted by cold weather. As we've said before, the intensity of cold seems to get them a little bit excitable. And here's a clip that was taken Thursday afternoon. The wind chill was probably around 25 below or so. Nighttime temperatures on Thursday night was when we recorded the 39 below weather. And you can see a lot of excitement, a lot of arousal. Denali's right in there with Grizzer. Grizzer's doing a lot of posturing and circling and showing status. But what's most interesting about this clip is that Aidan, who's in the forefront right here, is doing a lot of growling and certainly a lot of posturing. And we're actually seeing Aidan doing some maneuvering on Denali. And we've been very happy with Denali's behavior this week. He's a lot more social with wolf care, and you see him come right into the camera there. But what Aidan's probably picking up on is that Denali's not showing as much testing behavior of Grizzer, and that's probably viewed a little bit as a weakness to Aidan. And so Aidan's actually trying to go after Denali, but as littermates, Denali's not taking it very seriously and just kind of jaw spars with them, but pretty much tries to avoid direct contact with Grizzer. There's a little bit of lunging behavior from Denali towards Grizzer, but Grizzer is a very calm, dominant male, not like Shadow from the standpoint of not pinning the lower-ranking wolves to the ground and not showing aggressive dominance. Grizzer is a circler. He's kind of a posturing kind of dominant male, and those two will do that for many times throughout the day. But they're not physically interacting with each other. Like I say, it makes Denali a little bit nervous, especially when Aidan goes after him. But then there's always Maya to put a stop to Aidan's climbing too much rank. But the one concern that we do have is that Grizzer does seem to be keeping Denali from a lot of food resources. And as we said, we're still feeding chicken every day. And Grizzer and Aidan and Maya are getting a plentiful supply. Denali's getting some, but not as much as we'd like, and we certainly do see Grizzer get real possessive. If Denali gets something, no matter what you have in your hand for Grizzer, Grizzer wants Denali's piece, and so we're working out some details in the upcoming days to try to figure out how to best improve that situation for Denali so he can satiate. One thing we know, especially in this cold weather, is when he's hungry, he's going to be tense, and that tension is going to create a little redirection and snapping and a lot more anxiety. So we want to make sure that there's not a food issue with him. And we had been having fairly good luck last week feeding him, and then this week we're dealing a little more with Grizzer guarding and possessing. So that's our kind of challenge for this week. And as we said, Aidan seems to have visited the Fountain of Courage and gotten a little bit of dominance courage in the past week. And as we said, when you have a full belly, you're probably feeling pretty good about things, and he is probably picking up on Denali's change in psychological state towards Grizzer. Denali's just not testing nearly as much. He's wanting to be social, he's wanting to be engaging, and he is being submissive, but he's still got a little bit of nervous anxiety and threat display, and that makes him weak. And Aidan's picking up on that. Even though he's the Omega, he's a wolf, and he has the opportunity to move up in rank, and he's looking at that opportunity. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we know Maya is going to, definitely keep Aidan under control and not let him get away with too much more. You see Grizzer's head there. The hair is coming back slowly but surely. When you shave an area for suturing, it takes a little bit of time for that to come back. There's no weeping or anything like that. The wound is still got a little open spot, but it's healing very well. We were concerned initially about the 30 or 40 below weather and that flesh without hair there and how that was going to be affected by cold weather, but he has very significant amount of body heat on his head, and he's not showing any signs of tissue damage or any other issues with this cold weather. As a matter of fact, all the hair around his suture area is frosted and certainly indicating that there's heat coming off of that wound. And it's a very clean area, and we do believe Maya is still grooming it. By the looks of it, some days it's a little bit redder than usual, and that's an indication that there's somebody licking it or grooming it. We are seeing a lot of raven activity, and here's Maya chasing a raven off of some of the food scraps. As you feed an excess amount of meat, the ravens are taking advantage of that, and we may come here and have 30 or 40 ravens feeding in the mornings. We've not had a dead raven in a while. Once in a while, the wolf exhibit, you'll find a raven that's been killed, but that hasn't really been the case this winter. I think just having the extra food resources makes it less competitive and less likely that they're going to be chasing the ravens off or actually catching them. So again, here's Denali going over, and what's interesting about this clip is he and Grizzer go into the same bed, very relaxed and certainly interactive. Grizzer showing a posture of a T2 there, circling, just being a little bit dominant. But Denali comes over and does a raised leg urination, and there's really no response from Grizzer. Grizzer sniffs it. Grizzer doesn't even overmark, and that's a indication that he's not too concerned about Denali marking, and that's something that's improved in the last couple of weeks. As I said, this following behavior is just very consistent with dominance. It's passive dominance, meaning that there's no physical contact with it. It's just a way to remind a lower-ranking wolf that they're in charge. So the pack, as I said, is still a pack, doing extremely well. And food resources are plentiful. Actually, in this 39 below morning, we decided to give some extra deer legs to the pack and make sure that there was plenty of food. The DAP spray is still being used, and here's Grizzer doing a little bit of scent roll in the DAP bed. And obviously the mornings that are cold, you always want to watch for paw issues and make sure that there's no troubles. Now, as I said, this is the peak of the hormones, and that's not just the exhibit pack. This is Shadow and Malik, and actually this is a picture of Malik in a threat display towards Shadow. And Shadow's pretty timid about it, but we do see a little bit of posturing going on here. But again, Shadow is fed on a little different routine with wolf care staff directly hand feeding him, and that makes him not have to compete so much with Malik. This is Shadow in an excitable moment. Wolf care staff are interacting. He and Malik doing a little bit of posturing over the den, but he is definitely, both of these wolves are definitely showing a hormonal surge at this time of the year as well. So this is not just something that's going on in the exhibit pack, this is going on in retirement as well. You see Malik doing a circle around Shadow. The difference is Malik's hackles are up, which is a little bit of more intensity towards the interaction. But here's Shadow coming around again through the snow, and here's Malik obviously in a chase, and it's not too serious, but like I said, there's a lot of posturing, and it's mainly over food with these two. Bedding is important for these older animals. We have been noticing from the cameras that Shadow, if there's a wolf inside the den, it's typically Shadow, and Malik's appears to be resting or sleeping at night on top of the den, so it's even more important that there's fresh straw down here. And we're not really sure why that is. There are times when both of them are in the den together, but for some reason in the last couple of weeks, and maybe it is the tension of hormones, they'll sleep together on top of the den, but they won't be in close proximity to each other inside the den. And so that makes us extra diligent in making sure that there's a plentiful amount of straw on top of the den, especially if Malik is going to be bedding down. And as you'll see some of the clip a little bit here later, Malik's abscess seems to have gained a little swelling, but we're not about to immobilize an animal in 39 or 40 below wind chill. We're just kind of waiting for a little bit warmer weather and hopefully going to get a good dental inspection here. It's not causing him any problems in any other way. He's not sick. He's not showing any signs of a fever. He's not showing any systematic infection issues. It's swollen. It's not affecting his eating. As a matter of fact, he chews right on that side of those molars. And so would like to really get a clean dental inspection just to find out what's going on there. It's obviously an abscess, but it's not affecting him in any way. So as soon as we get some warm weather, we'll probably be scheduling that procedure. Now here's just thought you might want to appreciate or experience a little bit of a look of what it looks like to have a wolf come and steal your hat. And that was Malik there trying to come in a little bit closer for the camera operator's hat. So other than that, things are good. And again, thanks for watching. We appreciate all of your concerns, and thanks for bearing with our technological problems last week. Have a good day.